Hello everyone and welcome back to another video where today we are again not in American Dream. I mean, this is an American Dream episode, but we're not in American Dream right now. I'm actually just in a random park that I loaded up. I feel like that's pretty relatable to most people who play Planet Coaster. Sometimes you just have to randomly load a park and then build roller coasters in it. I do that pretty much the entirety of the time that I play this game. But here I am actually building like a small kids coaster. And the reason that we're not actually using the kids coaster is that the kids coaster sucks because it has the big dragon head on the front and you can really only do a dragon theme with it unless I'm going to make this really intricate front car. Plus, I don't like the track type with it. It's too modern. This, although it is a modern roller coaster, definitely, it just feels a little bit more classic. And especially we're going to get rid of all the supports when we actually bring it into American Dream, which should just be in a second. Here I am testing it, making sure it completes the course nice and nice and good. I don't want kids flying out here. But I think honestly, it's a great kid coaster layout. The idea behind it would be that this would be like an in-house coaster built by the park's founder, James Fields, when the park first opened. This would have been a very like simple, basic project that he would have done, pretty much probably by himself. Here I am already, jumping, cutting. Oh my gosh, this is a bit of a shorter episode, by the way, because of the fact that I'm just cutting so much. But here I am doing these custom supports. The overall idea behind it, though, would be that this is kind of like inspired by the Alan Herschel kids coasters. I don't know if you've ever seen one. If you go to Quasi, which is in, Middlebury, Connecticut, that park has a classic Alan Herschel kids coaster called the Little Dipper, and which is going to have the same name here, by the way. Spoilers. But the Little Dipper at Quasi sucks. It is a horrible kids coaster. And this one would probably suck too. It has very janky transitions and not comfortable seats. And that's kind of what I was trying to emulate here. But it also has these really thin, skinny supports. And it kind of gives it this unique look to it. And that's kind of what I was trying to do. So when you're looking at this ride, I don't think that I'm trying to make like a modern Zamperla kids coaster that you'll see at a lot of corporate parks. Dorney Park has one. Hershey Park has one. Six Flags Great Adventure has one. There's many parks that have these the classic Zamperla kids coasters. That is not what this is supposed to be. I'm not trying to emulate that at all. This is supposed to be a classic old vintage kids coaster that has stood the test of time here at American Dream. And again, with the custom supports, it really pulls the whole coaster together. It looks absolutely amazing. The only downside I would say by using the multiverse coaster is that the trains are just way too detailed and modern. Although I think they're a lot less detailed than the dragon head on the front of the other kiddie coaster option. They just look way too modern to be part of this ride. However, I don't know. I still think it works to some extent. So here I am just making a very basic queue line, like such a basic queue line. It is a very simple queue and exit. I changed the colors to black and then I make the train red, which is actually the same exact color scheme as the park. As Quasi, as the Little Dipper at Quasi. It has the same exact color scheme. It has black track, which is very different on a kids coaster. You don't usually see that. Usually you have more bright colors, but I don't know. I'm looking at a lot of the Alan Herschel kids coasters, and they seem to all have black track with white supports, or at least like a darker color scheme, which is really interesting, honestly. But here I am making a very simple station. I don't even do a custom roof here. I just do a basic wooden roof. I try to keep it super low because it would look weird if the roof was taller than the actual coaster. Again, the scale in Planet Coaster 2, although it's better than Planko 1, isn't perfect. So making a kids coaster like this, making a small scale roller coaster like this is definitely a little bit more challenging. This is actually my second attempt with the layout. I tried a couple episodes ago. This was my original plan for episode 4, I believe, was actually going to be building a kids coaster, but I just didn't end up doing it. One weird thing about it is that it's not really in a kids area, which is, definitely interesting. I kind of just squeezed this in wherever I could, but that's okay. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to do an entire kids area. I think it would make sense, as most parks, pretty much every park actually just has a dedicated kids area. But here we have the Fairy Tale Village, which has, 2 smaller kids attractions, and then we have this over here. So it's definitely more spread out. But I wouldn't say I want to do a full kids area, and here's why. Someone left a suggestion saying I should build my own kids rides, and although you can make them, move with the new mechanic pieces in the game, they're still not functional. They're basically just like these big. It would just basically be like a big statue that moves around that no one would go to, and so when I think of that, I don't know necessarily if I want that. I'd rather honestly just have more of like a spread out area of kids rides, just have some smaller rides spread out throughout the park, make it more family oriented anyway. I mean, this park is more family oriented, I would say. We're probably going to do, 1 or 2 more thrill coasters because that's just kind of what would do. We're definitely going to do a Vekoma Boomerang. You'll see at the end of this video, by the way, there's a Vekoma Boomerang that I'm going to incorporate in part, what part is this? This is part 8. So there's a Vekoma Boomerang I'm gonna incorporate in part 9. In part 9 is probably gonna be a pretty big episode. I really want to do a 1950s area. You go to a lot of parks, Six Flags New England, Six Flags Great Escape, like always, also has a 1950s themed area. Dorney Park has kind of like a 50s themed entryway, or at least they have some 50s themed buildings in the entryway. So I don't know, 50s themed things seem to be a pretty big part of the northeastern parks, so I would like to do a 1950s theme with the hot rod cars and the music and everything like that. I think I would like to do that. So, and that's what I want to do with the Vekoma Boomerang. You'll see it at the end when I show like the POV. That will kind of be like the outro to this video. I'll show the POV of the kids coaster. Not that there is much to it. It does do 3 laps, so get your money's worth. Not that this is pay per attraction. I don't know what I'm saying. Doing some very, very light foliage. I'm trying to just keep it. I'm trying something new. I've been watching a lot of videos lately, and there was this really awesome series. Oh my god, I just never remember the name. I never remember the name. He recently stopped doing it because he's so upset with Planet Coaster 2. So if that rings a bell, I don't know if you guys watched that. But the last episode, he was like, I'm not going to be continuing this anytime soon. But I really liked that series as it was going, and he has a lot of more blank grass areas. And that's very realistic. Parks don't have soil everywhere with flowers and everything. They have a lot of areas of just, plain grass. And although I didn't want to do just plain grass, I did some bushes with some overgrown, weeds kind of coming out of them. I think it works relatively nicely. I think it's fine. It's okay. But yeah, I wanted to do that over here. I wanted to have a little bit more of a grassy area, open grass. And I think, honestly, it comes out really, really nice. I like it a lot. So I kind of play around with the long grass and the meadow terrain paint, but it just doesn't really look good, in my opinion, in the end. So end up just leaving it as plain short grass. Just putting in some supports here. I tend to just not talk about what I'm building on camera, and I just go off on a tangent. I'm so sorry for that. But yeah, so we built the kids coaster. And the other thing that we are going to build in this episode, the other main thing, again, it's a very, very small episode, only really doing 2 major things here. And then when we get to the real-time portion, I'll show you that I did some stuff off camera. That I did it off camera because I just didn't think it was going to be very interesting. But the other thing that we built here is the first of 2 Skyway stations. I haven't built the second one yet. The second one will probably be a little bit more detailed, I guess is the word. This one is meant to be a old metal box. I contemplated making it an old rusty metal box, but I decided against it because I just thought it looked too bad. It didn't look good at all. So I decided this is going to be a very old metal box that would have opened up with the park. This station would have not been renovated. You can tell by the color scheme as well as the chain link fence kind of acting as a barrier inside. It's definitely a pretty old rickety building that would just have these metal walls. It would probably get really, really hot in there in the summer. It would not be fun to be in here. If I was an employee working in here, I would hate to be assigned to this ride. But hey, that's every theme park has rides like that, so it's it's pretty realistic actually. And then we also make like a really faded sign for like the Skyway. We end up calling the Skyway the Freedom Skyway, kind of keeping with that patriotic theme somewhat. So, but as you can see that with this color scheme, like it's green and blue. You're never really going to see that. I feel like that's a very uncommon color scheme, but back in 1968, maybe they thought it was really cool. I should have made the building look maybe a little bit more faded. The idea maybe is like the blue was just a little bit darker and the green was maybe just a little bit darker, so they're lighter versions of themselves, kind of sun bleached. I don't know if the effect really works now that I'm looking at it, but I mean, hey. And plus, like the roof is just straight up black, so it's not even like faded. I didn't even try to make it look faded. It's just straight up really dark. And especially with my new settings, I don't know what happened, but my game crashed as I was playing in it, and out of nowhere my settings just like completely reset, and I can't get it back to this setting. So going forward, pretty much every American Dream video, every video that I do is going to look a little bit different than this right now. Whether that's a good or bad thing, people have told me that this kind of looks washed out. I don't think it looks washed out. I think it looks kind of like it looks super bright and colorful. It looks a little bit more realistic. My settings now make everything look so much sharper. Like it looks so much more detailed, I guess is the word. So yeah, I don't know if I like it. If you have any like idea of what happened or like what I could do to get my settings back, I tinkered around with the graphic settings to try to get it to look like this again, but it just I don't know, it just didn't. The actual intro video that you saw has the new settings on it because I filmed that afterward. Same thing with the POV video, which also has the Vekoma boomerang in it, but just ignore that. It has like the new settings, so you can see if you like those settings a little bit more. Here we are just making a very, very simple, but it looks faded sign. Like it looks like it was just neglected, and I think it looks awesome. Again, we'll see more of it in the real-time portion. I then kind of realized that the Skyway station is very, very tucked away, so I decided, maybe the park would just kind of put this here. And I honestly think it looks nice. It, breaks up the plain fence a little bit. We're going to make a basic queue line, hashtag basic queue line. I don't know why I do the hashtag basic every time, but there was I don't know, it was a Mass Bandit video where he did like hashtag basic coaster station or something. It might have been like Somerville Valley or Somerville, I don't know what it was, the park, whatever. But I thought it was really funny. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, that was like a little awkward gap right there, so I just filled it in with some dirt, and then I put in a fence, maybe it's like an access point for the Skyway. But yeah. And then, of course, I have to make my little backstage area over here. Again, I do that off camera because I just thought, I don't know, it's kind of boring. I don't want to make everyone sit and wait through everything, so I kind of just put some fences up, and then I end up doing the rest of the area here. So yeah, very, very light foliage once again, kind of making it look a little bit more overgrown. I put in some benches here. Of course, I have to do the lighting to make sure that this is all lit up at night. And honestly, I think the lighting is pretty realistic inside of there. It's very, very dim, and I feel like that's what like an older building like that would look like. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it, and I will see you guys in the real-time portion. Alright, so we are now in the real-time portion, and of course over here we have Little Dipper. I think it came out really, really nice. It looks like a classic old Alan Herschel coaster, but the idea is that it's kind of like a knockoff Alan Herschel. It goes up the lift hill really fast because it's actually a launch because I didn't want the catwalk there, but I think it came out really nice. The idea is that it's a kind of like a in-house Alan Herschel coaster. Like the founder of the park, James Fields, in 1968 was just like, I don't know, hold my beer, I'll do it myself kind of mentality with it. So it's very it is definitely a very janky coaster. There's the lighting for it, very, very basic lighting on it. But yeah, here's the overgrown bushes. Again, I just try to make it look a little bit overgrown, not too much. Kind of not taken care of, and of course the light foliage around here with some rocks. Same thing over here. I think it looks, relatively nice. Again, just I wanted like a more of a blank grass area, so. I did this off camera coming over here. I just kind of made a little seating area. It's nothing crazy. I just got hit by the train. It's nothing crazy. Honestly, I might take this away and put like a midway game here. I don't have any midway games, and I feel like I do need to start putting in some soon, because I feel like I'm going to fill up the park without putting them in, and then it's going to be a struggle to fit them in. I love how this looks with like the chain link fence there. It just looks so like old and boring. Like that's amazing. You know, it's hard to make boring buildings in Planet Coaster sometimes. So whenever I do, I like it. Now coming around here, High Eclipse. We're coming over, and then the Freedom Skyway is to our left. Going down the path here, here's like the little gate I was talking about as like a little access point. I don't know, it was too awkward of a spot where I didn't want to put any like foliage in there. I feel like they just wouldn't. And then there's our faded sign. I think it looks so good. It looks so like, it looks what it's meant to be. You know, if you don't know what it's meant to be, you probably think that looks like garbage, but I honestly think it looks really good. Have some overgrown leaves down there, or overgrown like weeds, and then a very, very basic grassy area here on this side of the Skyway Station. And the Skyway Station lit up pretty nicely, honestly. It looks really good. I like it. Coming back down the queue line, and then of course I did this off camera too. I did a whole backstage area behind behind this fence over here. What I ended up doing was building a high fence. I ended up building a like a storage unit. This is where the employees would go, by the way, for the operators for Eclipse. They would go here. But I ended up building a storage unit for the air compressed tanks that would be on Eclipse. So most SNS drop towers have a separate building where the air compressors are stored, and I didn't build that in the Eclipse video, and so I put that here kind of just as a little bit of backstage, and then I just have some clutter making it look a little bit more used and everything. Some barriers, some random gutters, I don't know, it's just random utility stuff. And then of course over here I'm going to be building a big office building that would also kind of house like the ticket area. That will be in a later episode, obviously I'm not doing that now. But I think that would be really nice, honestly. But yeah. There is one more thing that I do want to show, because a couple episodes ago someone commented, it was on the Fairy Tale Village episode, someone commented that I should put a windmill in the Fairy Tale Village area, and of course now I did that because I thought that was a great idea. He said, or she said, I'm honestly not entirely sure, but they said that it would add some motion to it, and I think it does. It looks really, really nice. I really, really like it. It came out amazing. I just used the new motor piece because there is a windmill in the game, but it's massive. It is way too huge. Like, it is massive. So, and you can't scale it down, which is crazy enough. Honestly, I wish I could scale it down, but you can't scale it. And so I had to make my own. And honestly, it came out, I think, a little bit more realistic. Here, I'll show you how it works real quick. Where's the fairy tale? There we go. But yeah, so I just used this like one singular motor piece. It's not like a crazy setup. It's just one singular motor piece, and then some art shapes, and then a wagon wheel in the middle, and then wood on the side. It's very, 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 very basic. But I think honestly it fits the aesthetic of the Fairy Tale Village a little bit more than the one that is actually in the game. So honestly, I'm really happy with how it came out, and I think it looks really, really nice. But anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap up the video. I know it wasn't that crazy. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to do that well in views because it's just a kiddie coaster. But yeah, we'll see how it does. If you're liking the series so far, give this a like, and then make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Planet Coaster content. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time in American Dream. Bye-bye.